On the theme park island of the Witness, you solve puzzles. Solving puzzles leads to more puzzles. Keep working, keep digging, keep solving. Again, and again, and again. But this process cannot continue forever. Where does the Witness end? And why? Imagine a game designer's boot stamping on an artist's face, forever. Like many of its peers, the Witness adopts beautiful environments only to clunkily impose game mechanics on them. The landscape is snared in a net of panels and wires. The designer is so apparently careless that a set of panels seals a working door shut in the Flower Tower. You cannot even leave the starting area without solving puzzles. You are not concerned because this is the way of the modern puzzle video game. It is warm and familiar. Solve the puzzles, save the world, finish the game.
Which is particularly rare.
Yeah, this is actually an astrological configuration. The book says it's a map to the past and future.
Everything smells of significance. Look at these obsidian pillars, positively pregnant with mystery. You salivate at the thought of discovering their secret nature. And so the Witness is happy to play the fool. Random quotations pepper this trapped island, teasing great meaning, hinting at enlightenment.
O Lord God, helper of those who seek you,
without which pioneer work in theoretical science cannot
The
be
most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious.
It cannot be created by charters or constitutions, nor established by arms.
Yet nothing adds up. Nothing makes sense. Keep solving the puzzles. They must be important. It is not long before your final destination becomes clear. Each distinct zone of the island shepherds you through a sequence of puzzles towards a yellow box. The box, once activated, fires a beam of light towards the top of the island's mountain. Of course, the mountain is a metaphor. Solving puzzles is like climbing a mountain of mental adversity. A prize awaits you at the peak. But the statues there are trying to warn you about devoting yourself single-mindedly to a cause. The man with the hammer attacks the great arch defiantly, but his strength achieves naught. Another dies on the arch itself. This man believes he has all the answers in his book, and steps off to his doom. The creators are spent, but find nothing of worth in their success. It is a thinker's graveyard. Once you've unlocked the peak, there is only one way to go. Down, and you keep working, keep digging, keep solving. The puzzles reject you, and become physically unpleasant to solve. Where you once embraced the mountain climb metaphor, you ignore what it means to descend through the mountain's dark belly. You eventually reach the drowned cathedral. A cage awaits you. This is it. This is the enlightenment you were promised. You lock yourself inside the cage. But the Witness played you for a fool. You were wrong. You were the one snared in the net of panels and wires. There is no enlightenment here. The cage slowly returns you to the very beginning of your long journey as the island resets. The puzzles unsolve themselves. Where you started is no different from where you ended up, because the experience has left you unchanged. You have achieved nothing. You have learned nothing. What you see is what you get, except when it is not. Each of the island's zones suggests human purpose and meaning, but it is impossibly compact. In video games, density and function triumph over realism, and to aid this illusion, the form and color palette of each zone blends beautifully into its neighbors. But the graphics are not just eye candy. Many puzzles are not solved through logic, but through context. In the Zen temple, the shutters and branches light the way. In the woods, the shadows are your guide. This island is like a gallery of stereograms because with the right eyes, you can see secret images. There are many faces in this tree. Can you see one? What about here? These branches appear to be harmless, but look up from below, and you'll notice the branches also gaze into you. This is probably the witness's most famous illusion, the helping hand on the mountain. And you notice something else. The key motif of the witness is the circle and line, but it has seeped out of the panels into the fabric of the island. You see the motif everywhere. The path of a stream, the patterns in the ivy. It can even be found in the weather. A player who spends too much time with Tetris can be infected with it. They see the shapes everywhere and have to resist the urge to mentally plot fictional trajectories. It feels like the witness wants to do this to you. Soon enough, you start to notice the same motif in the real world. Finally, you have the thought. Wouldn't it be funny, you think, if I could just click on Jesus! Holy fucking shit. Look at that! Whoa! There's a piece of audio in The Witness that describes the Zen koan.
The method in the Rinzai school, however, is to put the intellect to work on problems that have no logical resolution. Such problems are known as koans, from the Chinese kengan, meaning public announcement. Some are mere questions. For example,
2 hands clap, and there is a sound. What is the sound of 1 hand?
And their common aim is to induce a kind of intellectual catastrophe, a sudden jump, which lifts the individual out of the domain of words and reason into a direct, non-mediated experience known as satori.
Perhaps The Witness is a koan which poses the question, if you stop looking, how much more do you see? Enlightenment is not at the end of the great journey, but is right in front of us. Stop looking. Start seeing. There is a secret cavern below the Witness's mountain, which can only be accessed if you activate all of the lasers. This means you cannot avoid the enraging sound puzzles in the bamboo forest. I was stuck on this puzzle for a long time. I told a colleague at work who was playing The Witness, and several days later he sent me an email with a single picture in it, a certain activated yellow box. The cavern appears to be a gallery of unused puzzle prototypes. All of the puzzles here do nothing, except for one, this devious wraparound puzzle. Solve this, and voila, you now have access to the most profound secret of The Witness. Welcome to the challenge. When you start the record player, Edvard Grieg's Anitra's dance blossoms into life and the action begins. You have until the music runs out to complete a gauntlet of randomized puzzles. Every skill you have developed throughout The Witness is called upon here. Stop looking for solutions, just see them. You need to be instinctive, you need to be fast. And it is astonishing what you can achieve when the mountain demands you do better. As Anitra's dance winds down, in the Hall of the Mountain King takes over, acting as an adrenaline-pumping timer. The challenge seems impossible. Your brain seems too slow for even the simplest puzzles. The music runs out, and you must start again. You curse as The Witness twists the knife with each step of progress. In The Karate Kid, Daniel-san wants to learn karate, but Mr. Miyagi assigns him nothing but errands to paint his fence and wax his floors. Eventually, the disgruntled and exhausted teenager confronts his tutor and demands to learn some goddamned karate. And in a scene that could only have been made in the 80s, it is revealed every errand was training. He has mastered the moves he needs by studying meaningless puzzles for hours and hours.
Show me pentafence.
Hey! Hey!
Show me sandafra.
This challenge is the culmination of your efforts, and every time you take on the challenge, you get a little better. Contemplation gives way to impulse. One triangle is a one-way passage. 2 triangles are a 90-degree turn or a two-way street. 3 triangles... Three triangles... Hang on a second. 3 triangles are a slingshot. Wax on, wax off. You lose yourself. There is only the circle and the line. Again. Again. And again. Keep working. Keep solving. Finally, the challenge is defeated. The crypt opens, and inside, there is a box. Anyway, who cares? What's really important is the secret tunnel system behind the record player. A thorough exploration of these tunnels turns up yet another box. What does this mean? If anyone enters the phrase Jonathan Blow pretentious into Google, the resulting strain on the search engine will transform it into a sentient AI called Skynet, and the end times will be at hand. Jonathan Blow, the driving force behind The Witness, has been lauded as both a genius and a pretentious git, sometimes even in the same breath. What I can tell you today is that Jonathan Blow is a man.
That's part of what having a strong opinion about what you're making is.
The pretentious thing arises for many different reasons, but if we focus on its previous title, Braid, players loved the puzzle platforming, but were less enamored with the walls of inscrutable text. I was one of these players. I expected similar from The Witness, so was happy to find no coherent story emerging from the island. I liked The Witness as a sandbox of ideas. I was content until I discovered the mountain's most devastating secret. A goddamn story. Audio logs inside the secret cavern and the nearby tunnels are no longer quotations and stories read out in an irritatingly portentous fashion, but conversations between the voice actors in the real world.
I'm going to the store. Do you want a sandwich or something?
You've been standing there for like an hour.
At the 11th hour, the island is revealed to be a virtual reality simulation designed to coax people towards personal enlightenment.
But a question remains unanswered. Not now!
How does the program decide when someone is enlightened?
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
How do you leave? You've been plowing through puzzles for hours, and Dorothy still can't seem to click her heels to go home. And so, that box. There is only one puzzle in the game that looks like this. The entry gate at the start of the game. If you solve the puzzle according to the secret code, the gate relocks. And then you see it. The answer was in front of you all the time. You just had to stop looking and start seeing. Even the false enlightenment of the cage was doing you a service, shuttling you back to where you started, to the way out. Enlightenment is not at the end of a great journey, but is right in front of us. This is the enlightenment you were promised. I cannot tell if you were a genius or a pretentious git, but what I can reveal is that you were a man. Your leg muscles have atrophied, so it seems you've been inside quite a while. You, the subject victim, have been snared in a net of panels and wires for so long, your perception of reality has become damaged. You prize circles above all other stimuli. The project is a failure. There is no enlightenment here. You have achieved nothing. You have learned nothing. This is a copy of the Diamond Sutra that was printed in 868 AD. It is a key text in contemporary Zen, but possibly also the world's first example of viral content.
Wherever this sutra shall be observed, studied, and explained, that place will become sacred ground to which countless spiritually advanced beings will bring offerings.
Perhaps if you forward the Diamond Sutra by email, Bill Gates will give you $1,000. The final verse of the sutra makes a surprise appearance in the cage ending of The Witness.
A bubble.
A bubble in a stream.
In a stream.
A flash
of lightning in a summer cloud.
A flash of...
A flickering lamp.
A phantom.
A phantom. And a dream.
And a dream.
Here's one interpretation of the sutra. Do not become attached to labels and symbols, for they will ossify your existence into a particular form. Attachment becomes stagnation. The sutra is fat with paradoxes to make this point.
The Buddha has said perfect appearances are not perfect appearances, therefore they are called perfect appearances.
This view implies enlightenment is an impossible goal. Language exists in an unending cycle of rebirth. We construct concepts to understand the world, but must then destroy them to advance to a new level of understanding. For example, psychologist Robert Epstein has warned that calling the brain a computer is not just an inappropriate metaphor, but is also inflicting scientific damage. So if the search for enlightenment is just an endless chase, is the witness suggesting we should not seek the truth? It is time to go beneath the village on the island, to the film theatre. There are several films you can play there. Futurologist James Burke cautions that art is a seductive but ultimately limited explanation for the complexity of reality. Don't settle for simple truths.
This stuff's easier to take, isn't it? Understandable. Got people in it. This, scientific knowledge, is hard to take.
But while physicist Richard Feynman expresses science as a journey of understanding, he advises against seeing it as the key to ultimate understanding.
People say to me, are you looking for the ultimate laws of physics? No, I'm not. I'm just looking to find out more about the world. And if it turns out there is a simple ultimate law that explains everything, so be it. That would be very nice to discover.
Spiritual teacher Rupert Spira offers a different view of the universe, arguing there is no distinction between consciousness and what consciousness perceives.
It is always here and now, not here a place and now a time. Here, this dimensionless, now this timeless presence of our own being.
But another spiritual teacher, Gangaji, cautions you to stop looking for enlightenment because all you need is right in front of you.
And you will find more than what you could ever want. Because more than what can be wanted is already who you are.
Game academic Brian Moriarty goes even further, observing that the human need to discern patterns in chaos can impel us towards obsession and madness.
They were trapped in a labyrinth of delusion, mining order from chaos.
If you search desperately for every last circle and line motif hidden on the island, you will see echoes of this shape everywhere. How do you know there's nothing to see? Let's crudely summarize these positions. Burke, science is truth, truth is vital. Feynman, science is not the whole truth. Spira, our senses are a distraction from the truth. Gangaji, seeking truth will not summon happiness. Moriarty, seeking truth may summon madness. Well, isn't it obvious? The Witness is a meditation on truth-seeking, thus has no answers. It is deliberately paradoxical, in keeping with Zen tradition. If the Witness were reversed in the Diamond Sutra, it would probably go something like this. The pursuit of truth is not the pursuit of truth. Therefore, we must pursue the truth.
All the separate self seeks is love. In fact, the separate self is not an entity that searches, it is the activity of resisting the now and seeking the not now.
Rupert Spira describes a philosophy known as non-duality, but its origins are far older, the Advaita Vedanta school of Hinduism. The detached state of being he relates is known as Sakshi Bhava, witness consciousness, where you become a neutral observer of your own mind, where you become the witness.
Does that make sense? It's a practice. We have to, in the beginning, we must consciously practice returning to that space of witnessing. Just pull back from pratyahara. That's what pratyahara is. Natural withdrawing of senses who are engaged constantly trying to give meaning from the world from this data that they are receiving. No? A witness is just stepping back, that your meaning is not coming from the five senses and the mind. It is coming from something deeper in you. And then you're just watching.
Now go back to the island. The visitor has no physical needs and his memory is suppressed. The island is an attempt to use technology to strip away the trappings of real life and hack the witness consciousness. In fact, witnessing has already been adopted by the West as a tool to better life, the technique for dealing with anxiety and depression called mindfulness.
MBSR is based on a form of meditation originally out of the Buddhist tradition, having to do with this capacity to pay attention and to actually refine our capacity to pay attention.
Mindfulness is like a deeply embodied experience of wakefulness, and we call that, in common parlance, awareness. And we only are alive in one moment, and that's this one.
The island fails to build upon the success of mindfulness, but not everything is lost. Imagine you were in a forest with no company other than the white noise of nature. And a car disrupts the peace. Can you imagine craving the car? Because that is what most of us do every single day. The idea of pause, of experiencing an empty now, is unbearable. Rupert Spira's film is 35 minutes long, and he spends the first 30 seconds of it in silence. I sat through it, even though I consider my spare time to be precious. I took that time.
Know yourself as the open, empty, luminous presence of awareness.
There's one other film I haven't mentioned yet, the final scene from Andrei Tarkovsky's Nostalgia, where a man tries to take a lit candle from one end of a pool to another. It takes him over 10 minutes to do this, and I watched it. I took that... Wait, one moment. Jesus! All puzzle games expect players to take their time, and like the best, the witness lets you choose how to proceed, so you never have to feel Jonathan Blow is perched on your shoulder, berating you for not solving a puzzle right here, right now. Just go away and come back later. Except for the challenge, the witness celebrates pause and reflection. Every machine on the island moves slowly. The shutters, the lasers, the lifts. As a game, a commitment to contemplation has been chiseled deep into its design. As a game, the witness asks us to slow the fuck down. As a game, it is obliterated by walkthroughs and YouTube videos and impatience. But are its players more enduring? More likely to value the moments of reflection? Could we resist our smartphone notifications? Let's find out. YouTube offers video creators a poison chalice they call the audience retention graph, so I know exactly which parts of my films cause viewers to collapse from boredom. See how no one sits through the final credits, so if I put some cool secret there, no one would find it. I want you to wait for 20 seconds in silence and darkness and the audience retention graph will tell me how well you did. You've come this far. Don't skip ahead, don't touch that dial. Stop looking for something else. How long does 20 seconds feel?